Rahul, welcome back.
Thanks, Rakesh.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, that how was it for you to be taking over, the presidentship of a sport that has given you a certain identity?
Well, I think that first of all, it's a massive pleasure and a privilege, and I genuinely mean that because as somebody who's played for India for 11 years and somebody who has been playing this sport in this country for the last 40 years, it's a pleasure, obviously, to give back to the game. It's also a privilege because you're now in a position of trust. I was elected, I wasn't selected. So, the people have placed their trust in you, and we have 26 states playing the game. So it's a question of treating this privilege with gentle, kind, and strong hands, is how I would like to put it. And so it's not rocket science, the fundamental issues that any president of Indian rugby would have facing today. Number one, nobody knows about the sport because we are not on mass media. So how do we create a property that can actually be on television and have a strong online presence? We're working on that. We've been working on that for 4 years, actually, quietly. Second, there's no money in the sport. How do you get more money into it? So obviously you start looking at, right now, in the last 15 months, I think we've increased sponsorships coming in by about 120%. It's gone up more than double, through sponsors. The third is what can we do for the internationally for our teams to get better. Obviously, we've instituted a 360-degree high-performance system. So these are things that are pretty obvious that I'm doing, but there are also things that are not so obvious that need to be done, which are my priorities as a human being. A sexual harassment policy that's now been put into place. We have a POSH policy, prevention of sexual harassment policy, that I would pride myself on saying is one of the most detailed policies out of any federation in the country. We have pay parity between men and women. There's absolutely no discrimination. All our facilities and all our nationals are played at the same time for men and women. So we pride ourselves on being one of the most gender sensitive and gender parity federations, I would venture to say, in history. So I think these are the things that are not so obvious, but are so important in terms of the culture of what you're building. My interest is, it's a 4-year term, and after 4 years, for the next board to come in, we should have processes in place that even if someone comes in with not necessarily the finest of motives, they will not be able to disrupt the kind of structures we've put in place ethically as well as performance-wise.
Now, going forward again, you mentioned that barring 4 out of 1,500 people, they belong to a section of the society where it is not easy for them to, sustain. Again, the sustainability factor, that how far are they going to sustain and
right.
how they, continue with the sport.
Right.
And you have also spoken extensively about players getting paid when they are in the national camp, and that almost works out to $2,000 a day, close to that, 30 to 40 days, and about 60,000 rupees, and which is quite
for them, certainly, yes.
From their point of view, again, going forward, how do you manage to change these things? Now it is 4 out of 1,500, which is fraction of a percent. Is there a way that we can do it over a period of time? Because I know that you are not looking at anything that is a knee-jerk or something which is like instant gratification, as we Indians love to have it.
So I think that the current player composition, socio-culturally and economically, is from the poorest sections of society and from rural poor, not so much the urban poor, but more the rural poor. So it would be, and a major portion of the rural poor is tribal. So the sport, by its very nature, by the fact that it's physically dangerous and it doesn't pay, only the most desperate sports persons who would like to play will come in here and say, okay, I won't get paid and I don't mind smashing my face and my shoulder and my knee. We have to change this. So the first thing that I began to institute with the current board is that, look, we have to pay our players. So I approached a sponsor and I said, look, the money you give us will only go to play our national players. And that's happened. Odisha State is one of our sponsors, and they were very happy to say that they came in with this belief that, yes, you must pay our players. That's one. And the second is, what do you do about the the straitened circumstances they come from. And if at all anyone knows me, they know that with the 2 NGOs I run, 90% of my predilection is to do all the grassroots work. At the grassroots, I am now speaking to every single state association president, secretary to say, look, please tell us what you need from us so that your players can benefit from state privileges, whether it's for school seat or a college seat or a job with the government. I mean, one of the happiest things that happened to us in 2022 was that 18 girls, some state players, some national players and some ex-national players from Odisha, 18 women got permanent jobs with the Odisha state government. So, as PT teachers, as police persons, etc. It is that will then, people will say, oh, I'll play this game because I can also get this. But we have to play it well enough to make the top 3 in the nationals and things. So, both go hand in hand, but it's very, very important to me personally and to the board collectively that we, tomorrow when it's on television and there are perhaps boys and girls from slightly better circumstances who are attracted to the sport, will then have a reason to tell their parents, I want to go play rugby, not because I'm going to break my face and I'm going to get no money, but I can get some money and I can build a career through this. But that's not the first priority. The first priority is to change the lives of the ones who are playing right now.
And are these guys insured?
Yes. So this started 2 years ago. Every single player who plays at the national level, every single player is insured. And that's been expensive for us.
Yeah, and one last thing before I let you go. How do you look at an opportunity like this where we are getting different stakeholders who are part of the sporting ecosystem?
I think the most attractive thing about coming for the conclave in Sportstar, and I don't even live in Delhi, so it's been a schlep for me to come and go, is that you're talking to people who understand the ecosystem. This is not some kind of a event where you say a few things and everybody starts to clap. It's a tough audience.
Yes.
It's not an easy audience to please. Yeah, because they know what sport is about. It's their daily job. They know the intestines of this entire world. So when you go and present something here, it better be good. And if it isn't good, you'll get to know very quickly. So that's the kind of ecosystem where you want to, that's the kind of conclave that you want to be a part of, because it's not just polite conversation, but it's actually dialogue that's happening. I mean, I was on a panel with Kollan Chaube, who is the president of the AIFF, with Adil Sumariwala, and then wonderful Deepa, who heads the Paralympics Federation. So with all of them giving their inputs, their experience, I picked up at least 3 things today that I'm going to implement back at our federation. And that's the great thing of coming to something like this. And Sportstar's credibility is cast iron. You're one of the oldest and one of the best. So I'm not saying this because somebody's paid me to do it. It's because it's a pleasure. And good luck, and may your tribe increase.